Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you've watched any previous videos on my MEPO journey, you're lucky, but some people weren't because they've just disappeared completely, and I've contacted YouTube who told me they can't get them back. I'm really sorry about that. Today I'm going to be doing an update on my Mepolizumab journey, and yeah, just letting you know what's been going on. So I'll start my first injection on August 4th, and I'm going to be having my 6th injection on the 1st of January 2018. Today's Boxing Day of 2017, to give you a time scale, so I'm about 6 months in. With MEPO, you get a year trial, because with things like Xolair, they did a 6 months trial, but they believe that MEPO might take a little bit longer to get into the white blood cells that are inside your tissues. So that's why you get a little bit longer. And yeah, I'm going to give you some information about how I found it, the side effects that I've had, how I found it, the side effects that I had, other people that have been in my group and how they found it, whether it's working or not, and all of that good stuff. So if you want to see that, then just stick around. So I would say Mepolizumab for me, and it's important that I explain this first. So I am a severe eosinophilic asthmatic, but really sorry, I can't breathe. I'm also a very allergic person. Mepolizumab is targeted for eosinophils only and not for allergy. So it's not going to relieve my allergy symptoms, but it should help my eosinophil level. I feel like this is going to be important, and that's because later on I'll explain why. But basically I want to start with that. So some of the side effects that I had from Mepolizumab were chronic migraines. Now I suffer from migraines anyway, prior to Mepolizumab. So they're not necessarily a side effect, but what Mepolizumab did was make them 100 times worse. So I will find myself in bed for a week with severe migraine, and the migraine attacks throughout the year, throughout the month. It's because it's coming up to New Year's Eve, you see. So throughout the month. So I currently take Migrelief pink tablets, sumatriptan 50mg tablets, and I also take topiramate. I'm not sure if I said that correctly, but basically that's got a license for migraines, but it's actually an anti-seizure medication for epileptics. So that was one set of side effects. The second set was redness in my face. Though I have to say, in the last 2 months, that has subsided. I would get redness on my nose. As you can see, I've still got a bit here, but my whole nose would look red. Like my mum called me Vicky the MEPO reindeer, because it was so red and sore. And then I'd have redness here as well. That has subsided a little bit, but that was annoying. But makeup again would sort that out for me. And if you're a boy, well, it might not happen to boys. None of the men in my group seem to have that problem. I don't think any of the women did either. I think it was just my body reacting to it. So I didn't see anyone else with a red nose, but every time I had an injection, this redness got worse. So we kind of figured that that might be a thing. And then generally I just felt a little bit worn out and tired for a few days after the injection. But it is an antibody, and it is interfering with the biological chemistry within your body. So, oh God blimey, you are going to be expecting some tiredness, because, you know, it's fighting something that's natural in your body. So obviously you're going to be tired, but I wasn't horrendous or anything like that. So, but there have been improvements. So my sinuses haven't been as bad. I still get allergic rhinitis. It doesn't stop you getting allergic rhinitis, but what it does do is prevent the tissues becoming inflamed. So that's kind of helped. I'll be right back. That's my inhaler taken. Hopefully I'll start to breathe soon. So yeah, nothing too crazy. What else? Yeah, so that's sort of where we're at. One of the guys in my group of people, I think there's 4 of us now, but he had his I was the first one in my hospital to have the treatment, and he was the second one. And he has gone from being in intensive care week in, week out. You know, he was like in intensive care so many times and in resus so many times with his asthma. I kind of know how it feels. You know, he couldn't walk without having an asthma attack. It was horrendous. And he's swimming 5 miles a day, 5 miles a week, and walking and being able to get back into work. So for him, it's worked wonders. I have one of my own hairs in my mouth. Anyway, for him, it's worked wonders. There's another lady that has hers in the group. She had hers maybe 2 weeks after we started ours, and she's also seen some improvements. And then the nurse that administers my treatment in the room with the allergists and stuff. You may not have allergists. It's given in the allergy room because it's the only room that's available at that time. She went to a conference in London, and they're saying maybe 80% of people who are trying MEPO that actually have this disease profile are seeing improvements. There's only a small number of people that are not. So there is a lot of scope for positivity there if you're about to start Mepolizumab. So moving on, is it working for me? The short answer is no, not yet. But I want to reiterate that you're given a year trial for a reason, and that's because it can take up to a year to see any improvements. It's better than doing nothing, you know. All these eosinophils are in your tissues, in your lungs, in your airways, and you know that takes time to break down. So you are giving them a year, and I'm only I've had 5 injections, so there's no need to panic at this point. But I'm also an allergic asthmatic, so Mepolizumab is only going to target one part of my disease profile. It was never going to combat my entire profile, and I think we knew this from the get-go and the outset. So, you know, is it working with regards to my eosinophils? Yes, it is. It is reducing my eosinophils. My eosinophils are the lowest they've been in 10 years. I actually have a letter here from my consultant, which I'm going to read to you. Because then this was sent to me on the 20th of November, so just last month after I saw him. I'm due for another appointment at the end of January, so I'll update again then. But this is basically what he said. I saw Ms. Taylor for review today. Unfortunately, there has been no clear signs of improvement since starting Mepolizumab 4 months ago. She continues to get ongoing exacerbations. The peripheral eosinophil on her blood count has resolved with treatment. Biologically, the drug seems to be working, and it may still be that we're going to see the effects of Mepolizumab on her exacerbation rate with time. We explored other issues which could be contributed to exacerbations, and she continues to make great efforts to control any stress aspects and dysfunctional breathing aspects to our symptoms. Now, dysfunctional breathing, we all do dysfunctional breathing, and this word really annoys me. I mean, it angers me beyond belief, because dysfunctional breathing means that your chest moves when you breathe, or it means you don't take breaths, and they tell you that in order to not dysfunctionally breathe, you have to breathe in enough air to fill a can of Coke. I'm sorry, how is that even measurable? And my chest is not moving when I breathe. I breathe with my diaphragm. But if I've been covered for a number of weeks, if I've been coughing and really struggling and my lungs are really hurting, my ribs are hurting, I do this because I can't physically breathe, I'm in pain. And they call that dysfunctional breathing, and that drives me insane because it's not dysfunctional breathing. I breathe in that way because I can't physically breathe normally because I'm in pain. It's impossible. And also, they say about panic, and I just want to come on here and say, anyone that's ever been told to calm down when they're having an asthma attack, the person that told you that is an idiot. And I'll tell you why. Because anyone that is suffocating, I mean physically suffocating, is not going to be able to be calm in the face of suffocation. Like, your entire brain, your entire body is fighting to breathe, it knows it's fighting to survive, it sends adrenaline everywhere, it increases your cortisol levels, you know, and all of these things are there for defense. And the way I would explain it is, when we were cavemen, yes, and a lion came towards us and we had our little basher stick, we would have to act, otherwise that lion is going to not only kill you but your family as well. So Fred Flintstone, okay, would have had this situation, and what would happen to Fred is this lion would approach, his cortisol levels would immediately increase. Now mine increased very quickly. I have to say, I do react very fast. Which sometimes is not the greatest thing, but not always. So your cortisol levels will increase. That will increase your adrenaline, which will increase your heart rate, which will increase your respiratory rate, your breathing rate. Ready to fight. It's called fight or flight. That's what that feeling is. You feel that feeling of butterflies. You're ready to go. And that sort of panic is our defense mechanism. And anyone that says you're panicking, ask them how they would feel if they were being strangled. In fact, I remember saying to one doctor who told me to calm down, I said, how about I grab hold of your throat and strangle you and see if you stay calm? And she was like, actually, you've got a good point. I never thought about that. Secondly, I would like to say, you know, we all panic. Panic is a normal part of life, okay? When you cross the road, you look left, you look right, you look left, you look right. Why do you do that? Because you're looking for a car, right? Is that not anxiety? Because you know that if you don't look left, you're going to get run over. So you're already panicking about being run over. So you do these processes to stop you getting run over. Yes? So a panic is normal. So anyone that tells you it's not normal to panic when you're suffocating is just an idiot. And try not to let them make you even more panicky, because it did me. So I just want to put that out there. I don't breathe dysfunctionally. As you can see, my chest is not moving. My diaphragm is doing all the work. But if I'm really struggling, I do this. You know, it's very hard. And, you know, my consultant breathes dysfunctionally. His chest moves when he breathes, and I'll point this out to him numerous times when I go in there. So does my GP breathe dysfunctionally. So, you know, if you're going to preach to me about dysfunctional breathing, you better make sure your breathing's perfect. Yeah? And that sounds a bit bitchy, but practice what you preach. If they're going to persecute me for doing something that they're doing themselves because I've got a disease, then I'm going to make sure that they know how to breathe enough air to fill a can of Coke. Anyway, continuing. So yeah, I've controlled stress aspects and dysfunctional breathing aspects. She can get quite frustrated if this is focused on during her admissions. Yes, I do. Because when you have an asthma attack, of course you're going to panic. But you seem to talk to me more about panicking than you do about breathing. But I've waited an hour and a half for an ambulance. Of course I'm panicking. Miss Taylor was also recently given the impression by a colleague during her admission that she was not making any efforts to control her health, which upset her. I tried to reassure her that in regard of that, we are fully aware of her efforts to control her asthma. My consultant has seen me sat in the library, researching my own conditions at the medical library at the hospital. I have done more research than anything. I actually asked for treatments that were only just out on the market because I was keeping up to date with things. So for this lady who told me that I wasn't allowed to go home because I hadn't done 4 peak flows in 24 hours, well, I was a little bit annoyed. And she said, you are 28 years old. You should be responsible for your own health, and you should be responsible for your own treatment and for your peak flows. I'm not being funny, but what asthmatic has ever been told they've got to do 4 peak flows in a day? No admission have I ever been told I've got to do 4 peak flows in a day. If they want a peak flow, they usually ask me if I could do one while they examine me. No doctor had been round to ask me to do a peak flow. No nurse had asked me to do a peak flow. I had done a peak flow in the morning and I had done a peak flow at night, because that is what I was told. But because I did do 4 lots of 3 in 24 hours, they kept me in for another day. And that really angered me, because she was like, you know, it's a 2-way street. You've got to put in as much effort as we put in. This consultant was a general medical consultant, not a respiratory one. And she really upset me. I was so upset I ended up discharging myself. Because I was perfectly well to go home. The only reason she kept me there was because I hadn't done 4 peak flows. And even my consultant was like, well, that's bed blocking. Like, I know. So I went home and stuff. But that really frustrated me, because I made sure that I had my treatment. I made sure I had my medications. I was in control of my medications. I asked for nebulizers if I needed them. I kept track of everything. I kept track of my oxygen saturations before and after meals. I did all of this. And then she's shouting at me because I haven't done 4 peak flows. I've only done 2. And it really upset me. And I was really angry. But they're fully aware of my efforts to control my asthma. And they are, because I say to them, you know, I want this treatment, I want that treatment. Look, this is the situation, this is that situation. I want to understand entirely. Before I got my full diagnosis, they were just telling me I was asthmatic. And I remember speaking to my asthma psychologist and being like, but what does that mean? I don't just want to be told I'm asthmatic. I want to know exactly the ins and outs of what that means. What is biologically wrong with me? I'm not one of these people that could just be given a diagnosis and that's it. I want to understand. And so we had a meeting with my consultant. The next time I saw my consultant, she came along and he was like, you have a high eosinophil level, you have this. And that was the first time I'd really realised what type of asthma I had. But I had to ask what type of asthma I had in order to get that answer. And I don't just want to be told this treatment's going to work for you, this treatment's going to work for you. I want to know what the treatment actually does. And I want to be able to go away and read the journals and the trial specimens of that treatment so that I could fully understand what that treatment is. And that's just because I have an interest in medicine in general. I want to be a doctor, so I have a natural inclination to understand what's happening within me, because I want to study medicine, I want to be a physician, and therefore I feel like it's important to have the full picture. So yeah, there we go. I wondered about seeding from the nose as an infective point of view. She still gets some sinus symptoms, but with little seen objectively when ENT examined her 4 years ago. Let me add, 4 years ago. I think, when was it? 2015? So it's coming up, that was at the start of 2015. So it's coming up 3 years ago. I've not seen anyone for 3 years. As she remains on sinus rinses and Dymista daily. Now I've stopped the Dymista because it's breaking down the membrane in my nose and causing me nosebleeds. So I don't no longer take that. Some of her symptoms do, however, seem to be infection related. Mepolizumab has also potentially given a slight, I would say that's an underestimation, increase in migraines. Although these were occurring prior to the initiation of the drug, these are felt pre-orbitally on the left side, more so than the right, with a partial visual aura. She cannot tell the time when looking at the clock. She's on amitriptyline, which has now subsided to topiramate, sumatriptan and Mogralee for these, but they are not controlling the headaches. She has not been able to tolerate Relva or Ellipta due to, on the examination, my stats were fine. She's not been able to tolerate Relva due to blistering on her tongue, and had to return to a serotype inhaler, one of them little purple disc inhalers, together with cyclesinide and tiotropium respiromab which is, what treatment is that? Can't think of it right now. She had been told during an admission that Serotyl was less effective by this general medicine consultant who was very rude to me. Let me tell you, she was so rude to me. She snatched my phone out of my hand to show me that on your iPhone, under the health section, you got a thing there where you can measure your peak flows. She just snatched my phone out of my hand. I thought that was rather rude, and that is what made me upset, because I'll treat you respectfully and I'll treat you with respect. I kind of expect the same type of treatment back. She was told it was less effective. Whilst it is an older medication, it may be fully effective. Changing to a newer device or drug may not be helpful, but I have suggested that we at least try to tweak this by changing it from Serotyl to Fluticasone to see if the formaldehyde component is better for her rather than the salmeterol component. I have also suggested adding azithromycin antibiotics 3 times a week on a letter to take to yourself privately to see if there is any infective element to which is causing her ongoing exacerbations. So here is my new inhaler. I thought I'd show you it because, yeah, comes in a packet like this. Do you know that I really hate it when they stick that over the top? No, I don't know why they should stick it on the back, but instead they've stuck it on the front, which really annoys me, because now I can't read the instructions. Look how diddy it is. It's so cute. We've got a little counter there. It is so cute. Oh my god. So yeah, I already knew how cute it was because this is my second inhaler. I've got the first one, which I've just finished, hence I'm opening this one. But still, it's really cute, right? And every time I look at it, I think, oh, it's so cute. Especially if you compare it to a normal sized inhaler. Like, it's a baby. So yeah, that's my new inhaler. And then azithromycin is an antibiotic. And what else do we have? Off note, she tells me that she has been reassured by the lack of eosinophilia in her blood. That was not what I said. Some exacerbations may well be non-eosinophilic because of her full blood count is now suppressed, but unfortunately preclude her having true exacerbations. In other words, real exacerbations, not panic attacks, but actual asthma symptoms, which may or may not require steroids or an admission to hospital. So basically, again, as I said at the beginning of this video, I do have an allergic profile. So I'm very allergic, and actually I'm going to insert a video of my eyeball from this week. My eye. See that big blister? Oh my god. Oh my god. This eye. And you'll see how bad my allergies can get. When I get an allergic reaction, I get a serious one. 12:47 on December 21st, 2017. As you can see, I've got another blistered eyeball. Do you see that? Just in the lower right hand corner, this corner. And I can't sleep, it's so painful. So I'm going to spend the next 2 hours probably with a hot compress on my eyes before I try to sleep. E.T. phone. I'll show you my bathroom in a minute because I have a stack of eye drops for my eyes. So this is the scale of my treatment. So I've got my hairbrush there. I've got these boxes here all the way down. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 boxes, 12 boxes of those, and there's 20 prednisone eye drops in there, and they look like this. There's individual preserve-free ones, if you see here. It says they're preservative-free. That's those. Then I've got catachrome eye drops, which I take 4 times a day, and they look like this. So they're like nebulizer, like, and they're also preserve free, which it says there. There you go. Then I have highlighters, which I don't have a bottle in here, that's in the bedroom, which is just a lubrication for my eye. I've got olopathanol or olopatadine. I've got 2 bottles of that, and that's an antihistamine for my eye. And then here I have an antibiotic eye drop for my eye.